What is up, everybody? What is up? I am so excited for today's video. Like, so excited. Today, the thing that I'm so excited for is that we are going to be reading one of the longest series I've personally ever read, and probably one of the longest series that's popular on BookTok, and that is the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. Okay, this is a 10-part romance series that I am so excited to read. Now, when I was doing research for this book, I couldn't find like anything on it, and it's funny because I thought it was like one of the most popular BookTok series, but yet when I look for it online, there's like nothing about it. There's hardly any TikToks about it. Like, nobody talks about it. But then yet every time I see a video about it, it's like talked as if it's like the best series in the world. So I thought it was one of the most popular romance series, but I might have been wrong, and it's only popular for the people who have read it. But we're just going to consider it the most popular BookTok series. It is a 10-part romance series. There's the Addicted series, which is about one couple called Lily Calloway and Lauren Hale. Then there's a bunch of other books in between about two of Lily's other sisters and their boyfriends. Now, I'm not going to get into too much detail about it because obviously as I read these books, you're going to hear about them more. But basically, this series starts out with one couple, Lily and Lauren Hale. They're technically a couple of people. They start out as friends, okay? So they're two friends. They're pretending to date so that their addictions don't get exposed. I'm not going to go into much more than that, but basically that is where the series is starting, and that's what this whole series is based off of. This is going to be one of the longest. Not only is this the longest romance series I've ever read, it's the longest series I've ever read. 10 books, okay? Throne of Glass was 8, and before I read this series, that was the longest series I've ever read. So now I'm kind of bummed a romance series is the longest one I've ever read, but what are you gonna do? Just a heads up, I will be reading all of these books just on my Kindle because I didn't want to buy 10 books that I may or may not like, and you can get them for free on Kindle Unlimited, so you should do that. But with that said, let's begin this very long, very interesting journey. Let's go. I'm back because I have some very bad, very irritating news about this video that I am so angry about still. I'm so angry about, okay? So before we get into it, I just have to say that the footage of me reading the first 3 books is gone. It's just gone. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where it went. I couldn't get it back as much as I tried. It's gone. I will just be talking about the first 3 books and telling you how I rated them and basically what they're about so that you know what the 7 other books are about. I am literally so irritated that this happened, but onward and upward because there's nothing I can do now. So this series starts out with the first book, which is Addicted to You. This book is about Lauren Hale and Lily Calloway. They have been best friends since childhood, like little itty bitty babies, and now this book starts out with them as friends in college. Now, these two have some serious addiction problems. Lily Calloway is addicted to sex, and Lauren Hale is addicted to alcohol. This has been 2 addictions they've been battling since they were like little. I think like since Lily was like 12, and same for Lauren. So they've always been battling these things for each other. So they have been covering for one another since they can remember, and that brings us to present day. They are now in college. They are fake dating because for some reason they thought them being a couple was a good way to get out of family events because their addictions are all so consuming that they don't even want to be around family anymore. So they're pretend dating so that they have an excuse to never go anywhere, never do anything, and so that their secret addictions stay a secret. So basically throughout this book, we see Lauren Hale dealing with his alcohol addiction. He's very angry. He's always getting in fights. He's always doing stuff wrong. He's always lying to everyone. He's always passed out drunk all the time. And then Lily is taking care of him. They do live together in an apartment, going to college together. Lily takes care of him all the time while also battling her addiction. She's always sleeping around with everyone and getting herself into trouble and these awful situations. And just all around not being very good. All while lying to their family about why they're never around and what, is really doing. Now, Lily's addiction is so all-consuming that she literally cannot go anywhere or do anything, like, without having to go have sex. Like, she's literally in the middle of class in one scene, and she pulls up porn. to watch in class. Like, it's bad. With them battling all of that, there's a whole lot of drama in between. Now, these overviews of these books are going to be like so quick and brief because I already have done this before and I don't want to do it again. So I'm just going to try to get all the key points without spoiling anything so that you know what's going on. Closer to the end, we find out that Lily and Lo have always been in love with each other, obviously. So they want to take the relationship the next step. They actually start dating for real. They're still covering for one another. They're still doing these awful, horrible things. But they think if Lily is only with Lauren, it'll make her addiction better because she's just being with one person. So then we have to deal with that battle throughout the whole book, you know, the end of the book. And it's just not good. It just is a complete and utter mess. It's awful. Now that they're actually together, you know, after all the drama calms down and everything's done, Lauren Hale decides that he needs to get help. So basically at the end of the book, he decides to go to rehab so that he's not an alcoholic anymore. And that's how we end book number 1. Now, I rated book number 1 like 2 out of 5 stars. It was so... I did not like it. I thought they were kind of annoying. I couldn't relate to them. It was just not my thing. The drama was just so strange. It was just depressing. The first book was so depressing because they're dealing with all this stuff that is so realistic that I just didn't enjoy reading about it because it was sad and it made me sad. So I rated that one like 2 out of 5 stars. Moving on to the second book, which is called Ricochet. This book is just a little tiny short one and it's just about Lily the whole time. And it is about, you know, Lauren Hale now went to rehab, so he's at rehab the whole time. So we really just get to see Lily this whole time in this book battling with her own addiction and trying to sustain abstinence, you know, in a relationship and not cheat. And that's pretty much it. It's really just her struggling the whole time to not have sex. That's this whole book. I rated that one like 3 out of 5 stars. Maybe, if that, 2.5 maybe. So then the next book is Addicted for Now. Hale is back from rehab now, and they are trying to take their relationship to the next level. They're going to move in together. They're going to live together. They're going to sleep in the same bed together with the help of Lily's sister, Rose Calloway. So they all 3 of them live in a house together, and basically they're still just battling. You know, Lauren is recovering, so he's trying to not drink as much anymore. He's trying to stay sober for as long as he can. Obviously, that's the goal. So he's putting all of his focus away from his addiction onto Lily's. He's trying to be the one to help her have some regulations and rules just so that he can avoid his addiction. And, you know, in the first couple books, I can't remember which one it is, but Lily basically ends up going to a therapist too that helps with all this stuff. In this book, though, somebody has threatened to expose Lily's secret. Because everybody know at this point, you know, the media and everybody, since these kids are famous, they knew about Lauren going to rehab. So he was already kind of getting bad attention. But then somebody starts, like something anonymous starts threatening to release Lily's secret. And Lauren goes out on a hunt trying to figure out who it is and why they would do it. And he has to go back to all these people that he's irritated over his lifetime and see if it was any of them. He keeps getting these like horrible text messages, Lily and Lo do, threatening like you're a whore and you know, just bad stuff, just stuff that nobody would want to deal with. Now they're battling that. They're hoping, you know, to figure out who's doing this without getting her secret exposed. And might I add too that there's all of these friends are with them. Okay, so the 6 friends, core friends we have are Lily and Lo, Rose and Connor, Reich and Daisy. That is the main, you know, group we're focusing on. Daisy, Lily, and Rose are all sisters. Daisy's the youngest, Rose is the oldest, Lily is the middle. They technically have an older sister, Poppy, but she really has nothing to do with the story. She just shows up every once in a while. She's the oldest though. She's already married with kids. Connor is a friend. Lo is Lily's best friend. Reich is another friend that shows up in the first couple of books. But yeah, in the third book, they're still just trying to come back into society and working on themselves and being with their family. It's sad, it's depressing, it's kind of annoying. Yeah, that's it. I think I rated that one probably 3.5 out of 5 stars because it was finally getting better. The characters are starting to develop and change and improve, and I started to enjoy it more. I was a little bit more invested in the characters at this point. I was starting to love the storyline and the plot and all of the other surrounding characters. So 3.5 out of 5 for that one. So with the first 3 books out of the way now, and I'm sorry for those brief introductions, but that was really all I could remember because I read them so long ago. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys. So there you have it. There's that. Let's move on now to book number 4, where I actually have video footage of me reading it. With that, let's get into the actual part of the video. Now that I did that, it's a different day. Today we're starting book number 4, and that is Kiss the Sky. In this book, we're going to be reading about the couple Rose Calloway and Connor Cobalt. Kind of a tricky name to say. This one, that's the couple we're reading about. The last book was still Lily Calloway and Lo. Their book is over. Now we're getting in book number 4, we're getting Rose and Connor, which is another couple, which is actually my favorite couple so far in the series. So I'm like really excited in this book. I looked up like an overview of what this one's going to be about. In the last book, which I'm sure I've mentioned, Lily and Lo had a situation where Lily's sex addiction secret was like blasted all over the media. So now in this book, Rose is a fashion designer and owns a clothing company. And after her sister's sex addiction was blasted all over the news, her company started going downhill. So in this one, she is starting a reality TV show starring her friends and family so that she can hopefully get her clothesline back on. She's basically doing a reality TV show, I guess, to save her image, which I'm guessing is not going to go very well. But I'm really excited to read this one because it's my favorite couple so far, and I'm so excited to read it. This book is another short one. I think it's only 440 pages, so it should be a pretty easy read. So let's do it. I'm so excited for this one. I'm 21% into the book, and I just got to this part when I say that Connor is so far my favorite man in this book series. Okay, here's why. Rose made a bet with Lo that basically if she lost the bet, she had to give Connor a lap dance. Okay, she had to do it on camera for the reality show. She was super nervous to do it, and when the day came that she was supposed to do it on camera for everyone to see, Connor gives her a lap dance. Like, he does it on camera and gives her a lap dance so she wouldn't have to embarrass herself. And let me just say, I love this man. I love him. I love him. I love him. I love him. I'm enjoying this book so much. I really did not think I was gonna like this series, but each book I read, it literally just gets like better and better. And I'm loving it. I'm loving it real good. Gosh, and he always speaks in French to her, and I just can't do it. I love it so bad. I love him so much. I can't do it. You guys, I am 50% through the book, halfway through the book, okay? And I love it. I love it so much. I love Connor. I love Connor and Rose. They're definitely the best couple ever. I love it. The drama is like just perfect. Obviously, they're doing the reality TV show, so like all this, whatever. So basically in this one, like, they're doing this reality TV show, and the producer's basically out to make them all look like super bad, obviously, and kind of, they have these stereotypes for each of them, and there's like these parts where basically the producer of the reality show wanted there to be this love triangle between Connor, Rose, and then the producer, which his name is, I can't remember his name. Whatever, he has a name. It's the producer. We're just gonna call him producer guy. So they're doing this love triangle, and basically the producer of the show is like out to make Connor look super bad, and like he says all these awful things, which is like a little bit irritating to read about, because like it's definitely like a miscommunication trip, because now all the friends are like watching these interviews like, yo, Connor, why are you like, did you really say that? Do you really think this way about Rose? Da 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 da. But he's getting cut, like his interviews are getting cut, and so it's making it seem worse, and like the producer of the show is like saying lines that Connor said, like good lines that Connor said, so it seems like he said them about Rose, and I can't do it. The drama is just like so good. I love it so much. It's so much fun. Connor, I can't deal with him. I love him. There's this quote that I just got to, 50%, okay? And this is the kind of guy like Connor is. This is something he just said in the book. I would sit here for 80 more years and listen to you talk. I love the sound of your voice and every meaning behind your words. I can't. I can't. I love him. I love him so much. Right now for me, halfway through the book, it's like 5 out of 5 stars. I'm loving it. But I guess we'll see, like, I mean, I don't know, 50%. Anything could really happen so far. But like the fourth one, this one is way better than all the other ones. I love it so much. Okay, but we're gonna keep reading because I want to know what happens. I love it. I'm like binging this book so fast. I'm obsessed. Let's keep reading. Oh my gosh, the smut in this book is so much better than the other ones. Anyway, Rose is a virgin, and like, so basically, like, one of the plot points is Connor's trying to get her to loosen up to finally feel comfortable enough to have sex with him. So there's a lot of like sexual tension, but there hasn't been any sex yet. But it's like so good, and I think it's so good just because it's Connor. Like, I love him, you guys. This book is so much better. I'm obsessed. I did it. I finished book number 4, Kiss the Sky. And let me tell you, that one so far was the best of all of them. It had so many more elements that I enjoy while reading, where I'd say the first 3 were very dark and depressing and just kind of like, I didn't really connect with those characters too much because I just didn't enjoy them that much. But I connected with them more in this book. So in this book, it had Lily, Lauren, Reich, Connor, Rose, and Daisy. And in this one, all of them together, basically in the last book, like I've mentioned, Lily's sex addiction and Lauren's alcohol addiction got blasted all over the news. So in this book, Rose decided to battle that. So Rose in this book, because her clothing line was taking a hit from her sister's addiction being blasted all over the media, she decided to do a reality TV show, get her name back out there. But she made her whole family do it. So Lily, Lauren, Reich, Connor, Daisy, all of them, Rose, they were all in this show together. And some shit went down. The producer was like totally out to get them the whole time and like made them all look super bad and like blasted them. And warning, spoiler alert, basically they gave each of the characters this stereotype in this show. So like Lauren was the alcoholic, Reich was like the brute or like the jackass or something, Connor was the asshole, I don't know, so they all had different ones, and Rose's was the virgin because she's a virgin in this book, not for long. And then at the end, like, a bunch of drama happens, whatever, I don't know, I don't even know how to freaking describe this because I just don't even know what happened. Basically, a bunch of drama went down. But at the very end, which was so irritating, the producer of the show, turns out that Rose like signed off on something that she didn't know she was signing off on, which was that he was going to record them in their room while they were having sex, and then he sold it to porn sites. That was how this book ended, and it was bad. But overall, like, I enjoyed it. It was a fun read. It's one of those books where it's not like, if you're looking for something deep and meaningful, this is not that book. If you're looking for something that makes you feel like you're reading about the Kardashians, that's this book. And I still enjoyed it. I was 5 stars because Connor and Rose's dynamic, though, is so incredible. Connor is like a 6'5" billionaire genius that like absolutely adores Rose so much. Like, he literally, like, every time she talks, he's like locked in and like he just loves her so much. I love him. He's so damn hot. I think their dynamic is the only reason I'm rating this book 5 out of 5 stars. The rest of it was like, fun. It was entertaining. It was entertaining in like a trashy reality TV show way, which is cool because that's what this was all about. But yeah, this was the first one where I like really enjoyed it. I'm really starting to understand the characters, and their like found family dynamic is like becoming more enjoyable. I'm starting to enjoy it. Is it like the best series I've ever read? No, obviously not, because I'm a fantasy girly through and through. It's enjoyable though. Like I love drama, so it's like, it's working for me in some type of way, but it's not like the best thing I've ever read, and it's just entertaining. Anyway, I just can't get over Connor. I can't get over him. He's literally my dream man. He's so perfect. He's so smart, so sarcastic, so rude to everybody around him besides Rose. He literally like talks about like his point of view about like every time she talks. He just like talks about like, I love how she's so difficult because she challenges me, and like I can't deal with it. He like loves when she's like being mean to him because he's just like, she's so so much for him, and in his point of view when he's thinking about her, like, I love it. It's just so adorable because he's just like so obsessed. Everything she does, he's like just so fucking obsessed, and I loved it. It was so cute. Only negative thing I have to say about this book is that it was really rushed at the end. Like, they went from like finding out that their sex tapes were leaked everywhere to then like within like a month they were like engaged and married that same day. And then like that was the end of the book. Like, they got engaged and then married, and it was like boom, over. So it was a little bit rushed at the end, and that kind of for me made all the rest of it seem really cheesy. Obviously all of it was already cheesy, but that kind of just like that ruined it for me. I was hoping for like, I don't know, something else. But yeah, hopefully they're in another book. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna be in other books, but I hope one of these last 6. Do I have 6 left? Am I on the 4th one? Is this the 4th one? Oh my gosh, I have 6 left. That was the 4th one. 6? What? Well, they better have another book out of those 6. The next book is about Daisy, which is the youngest Calloway sister. She is a supermodel her parents forced her to be. Her character the whole time, I mean, I don't really relate to her. I think she's funny. Like, she's like the funny, outspoken, not afraid to say anything, you know, typical rowdy teenage girl that, like, I don't know how to like put it, but I guess we'll see more of her in this next book. So I guess let's see if I like it. Let's continue on with the series. I cannot believe I have 6 more. I feel like I've been reading this series for like 6 months already. But let's continue on. Okay, it is time for book number 5, Hothouse Flower. This one is about Daisy Calloway, which is the youngest Calloway sister. She is a supermodel. She is kind of like the adrenaline junkie of the family. She's always doing stuff that's dangerous and saying whatever she wants and blah 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 blah. And then it's also about Reich, which I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but Reich is Lo's older brother from another mother, quite literally. And they've in the past books have always kind of had this weird tension going on, but Reich is way too old for her and she's only been 16. But in this one, it's 2 to 3 years in the future since the last book. And so now Reich is 25 and Daisy is 18. We're gonna get a little forbidden love trope in this one, which I'm really excited about. It's funny because I'm a little nervous to read this one because Daisy's probably my least favorite sister so far because she's just been so young in the books. And Reich is my least favorite male character because he's just kind of annoying to me. So let's see if I even like this one. It'll be interesting to see. As you can probably tell, I unlocked a new room. This is my new library that I just built. This is the first book I will ever be reading in this room. So let's do it. Books like this, like, I don't know, I only ever really read fantasy, so obviously in fantasy books, like, there's always something bad happening and the dramas always so intense, but when I read books like this that are just like made to be overly dramatic, it's just, I don't know, it's different when it's not fantasy for me. But in this one I'm like barely in, and already we find out that Lauren breaks his sobriety because after the reality TV show came and gone, now they're trying to out Lauren's dad for being physically abusive and like molesting him when he was little, and so now he breaks his sobriety because of it. Which is just, I hate stuff like that. It's just such a bummer because now I'm like attached to the characters and it's like almost like I'm like friends with them now, so when bad stuff is happening I'm like actually feeling it a lot more, and like it actually upsets me a lot more because like I'm like super connected to them. But yeah, already off to a pretty depressing start, which I'm really not that surprised about. But yeah, the more I read these books, the more I'm like so attached to the characters. I can't do it. I love them. Like, I literally think about them all the time, and I'm only on the 5th book. It's like the worst feeling ever when like you start getting attached to characters and you like can't be reading about them. I hate that. But anyway, the drama's off to a good start. The book's off to a good start. I'm loving the series. So let's continue with it. I'm sure I look like a hot mess right now, or maybe just a mess, but I just finished the book. I completely forgot to record like when I was halfway through, or even record myself reading it because I binged this thing so freaking fast. So my bad. You didn't get to see any of that. But with that said, I finished it. Book number 5, done. Hothouse Flower. It was about Daisy and Reich. Basically, overview of this book. Daisy is a model. Reich is not a model, but he's famous and he likes to climb mountains. keep that in mind. But basically, how their relationship starts out is Daisy and Reich have known each other since Daisy was 16 and he was 22. And their relationship, they were only just friends because, like, obviously, like, forbidden love. They're not supposed to date. She's illegal. But she's 18 in this book. He's 25 now. So obviously, they're hanging out together all the time, and so, like, obviously they fall in love. In the previous book, because her sister's sex addiction was outed, she got bullied a lot for it and harassed, and like people, like a paparazzi, like broke into her room one night in the last book. So now she has a bunch of PTSD. She could not sleep because of this, so Reich would always spend the night in her house without anybody else knowing because they have a forbidden friendship, so obviously nobody can know. But she has to take like these sleeping pills because she can't sleep. And the first thing I want to talk about, okay, so since she can't sleep, she takes these sleeping pills. These sleeping pills cause her to have like these like night terrors, yada yada yada. But the other thing it causes her to have is freaking sex dreams. And so at one point early on in the book, she's sleeping next to Reich and has this full-blown sex dream. And like, when I say this book is dramatic, like, it dramatizes a lot of things. Obviously it's what it's about. Like, it's a dramatic romance book, so things are going to be dramatic. That's why it's more fun to read. So basically she has a sex dream next to Reich and like it's going at it in her head. Awkward. I would die. I'd jump out the window. Okay, in this book too, you also get since Daisy is a model, you get a lot of behind the scenes of what it's like for her in her modeling career, which was pretty cool. I've never really read any books about like models, and it's only like the smallest amount of glimpses you get to see into the modeling world, but it was cool to see. Just something a little bit different. Anyway, so we get the behind the scenes of Daisy in her modeling shoot, which she flies to Paris for Fashion Week for. While she's there, something happens which leads Reich, Connor, and Lo to fly out to see her. While they're out, they are out at this bar, and then there's this like World Cup, I think it's the World Cup like soccer game going on, and then riots break out. And then they get caught in the middle of this riot in the middle of Paris. And when I say these books are dramatic, I mean, holy shit, why is this happening to these people? This is just over the top, but I love it so much. Because, spoiler alert, while they're in the riot, Daisy gets hit in the face by a 2x4 and gets her cheek split, like, from, like, temple to, like, cheek. She gets, like, ripped her face open by this 2x4. So then, obviously, drama ensues, she gets rushed to the hospital, yada yada yada. But because she has this giant scar now, modeling career over. She used it as a reason to no longer model, which, like, she was happy about. But let me just say, if I got hit in the face by a 2x4 and the guy I was in love with saw that happen, I would just not get back up. I would just die right there. That would be so humiliating. I would hope that I would die. Anyway, modeling career over. She uses it as an excuse to stop modeling. Obviously her evil mother is angry about it. Yada yada yada. Yada yada yada. They get back from Paris. Everybody, you know, after Paris is over, she's all better now. They go on this really long road trip together. Reich, Rose, Connor, Lo, Lily, and Daisy all go on this road trip from like New York to California because Reich is going to climb this really big mountain when he gets to California. So obviously they go on this really long road trip. At this time, Daisy and Reich had like solidified their relationship behind everybody's backs. So obviously, like, they're gonna be sneaking around the whole time they're on this really long road trip with their entire family that they're trying to hide it from. Because it's forbidden, which makes it so much better. They make it to California. They, for the most part, throughout the road trip, successfully hid the relationship until they had to break apart in groups because of paparazzi. So Lily, Lauren, Connor, and Rose all went in one car together. And then, obviously, Reich and Daisy went alone. They get caught by the paparazzi making out. So then when they finally meet up together, the whole group of friends, obviously Reich and Daisy's relationship is outed. Lauren is not very happy about it. A fight goes on because he thinks he thinks there's some shady shit going on, that Reich was like dating Daisy behind his back this whole time while she was underage, but he really wasn't. They were just really good friends, which is still sketchy. Anyway, they get in a fight about it. then the fight's done and they're fine. And then obviously they all live happily ever after. Oh, and Rose and Lily come out as pregnant in this book. So now we've got 5 more books. 5 more books? What are these even going to be about? Every time I remind myself how many I have left, like what? I don't even know what else could happen at this point. We've touched every basis of drama that you could possibly ever have, unless somebody's baby gets abducted by aliens or freaking killed on a train. I don't know. The more I think about how many more I have to read, the more stressed I get. But that's okay. That book is done. I probably rate that one 4.5 stars. It was fun. I still don't. Reich and Daisy still aren't my favorite couple. Connor and Rose are my favorite couple. Connor's probably my favorite boyfriend from the book. And then Lo is a really close second. Lily, I like her, but she's kind of strange. She's not my favorite. But Connor and Rose, favorite couple. Reich and Daisy, they're okay. They weren't my favorite. So I'm rating this book 4 out of 5 stars. Which is still pretty good for this. Especially since I'm not really a fan of like overdramatic romance books. Well, okay, I say I'm not, but then I'm like always eating this shit up. So maybe I am, and I just don't know myself at all. Which that could very much be. Anyway, book 5 done. 5 more to go. The next book is Thrive, which I don't know who it's about, but I will tell you what it's kind of about in the next clip. So let's go do that. Okay, it is day, fuck if I know. And we're starting book number 6, which is Thrive. I'm so excited for this one. This one is back to Lily and Lo, but it's actually 2 years in the past. So it's happening between the two books. Kiss the Sky and Hot House Flower. Kiss the Sky was Connor and Rose's book. Hot House Flower was Reich and Daisy's book. But so this one, Thrive, is happening in between those two. It is what was going on with Lily and Lauren while those long 2 years was happening in between those two books. So if you remember where we left off, Connor and Rose got married in Kiss the Sky, and so then Lily and Lauren didn't have to anymore, which if I haven't mentioned that, they had to get married so that their publicity would seem better and it would seem like they were actually in love instead of like, I don't know, it was to help her sex addiction outing, but whatever. So they didn't have to get married because Connor saved their ass in Kiss the Sky. And then in Hot House Flower, Daisy and Reich got together, their story happened. Okay, so now it's going to be like the events that happened in between those 2 years, but with Lily and Lo. I am kind of excited for this one, but I have noticed that while reading this series that I really only like Lily and Lauren. He just grabbed my hand. My precious, innocent, loving baby. Okay, anyway. I've noticed that I like Lily and Lauren mostly when they're with other people and not like as a couple themselves. So I'm hoping this book changes it. I still enjoy them, and I still really enjoy Lauren, but I enjoy them more when they're in group settings than when they're alone. So, let's see how this one goes. Book number 6. I've got 4 more to go after this. And I'm loving this series. The more I read, the more I fall in love with these characters. I literally think about these characters day in and day out. I'm so excited each day that I get home to continue reading. I love them so much. Every single one of them. I love them so much. Artemis. Kiss. 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 You just love me so much. Okay, so let's start it. Book number 6. I can't even keep track of how many I read anymore. I've been reading these books for so long. But let's do it. I'm so excited. Okay. 50% of the way in. You guys are crooked, but you'll have to suck it up because I don't want to fix it. It's just your brother. You love me so much. Hold on. Okay, before I was rudely interrupted by my screaming cat. And 50% of the way done. And I'm loving this book. Absolutely loving it. I learned that the more I read this series, the more I care less what I'm reading about. I just want to read about the characters. I think about them all the time. I love them. I want to be friends with them. I love them. Anyway, 50% of the way in. So far there is like a couple things that like suck to read about again, and that is, you know, Lily and Lauren are like addiction strugglers. What is it called? What is the word? Addictioners? Why is that the word that's coming to my head? What the fuck are they called? Addiction addicts. Oh my gosh. They're addicts. Okay, that was bad. Anyway, obviously they're addicts still in this book. Like, they're still struggling with their problems. But I have to say, in this book, Lily grew some balls. Okay, she earned my respect because in this one she holds Lauren accountable, which she didn't do in the first two, which is why I didn't really like her that much. But in this one, 50% in, she's like telling him, like, no, like, sit down and shut the fuck up. Do better, okay? He, not so much. Because her addiction, a sex addiction, is kind of like weird. Not weird. It's not weird. I just mean in the sense that, anyway, it's, what's the word? It's harder to maintain abstinence in a relationship, in their relationship anyway. So it's harder for them to, hold her accountable, especially because, like, he seems to kind of be now, like, enabling her and saying, like, oh no, she's fine, she can handle it, I want to have sex with her, yada yada yada. So there is that little bit in this one, which is a little bit irritating to read about. And it's definitely harder to read about these characters struggling because I've read so much about them so far, and because I'm so connected to them, that when they're struggling with something like this, it, like, really bothers me now, because, like, I really love these characters, and it, like, really sucks to see them not being good. Also, it was kind of interesting to see in this book how, which, in the first two books, I agreed with everybody else that Lily and Lauren, like, needed help. Like, they had problems, they had these separate addictions, so they obviously needed help. They needed people to be in their lives that would hold them accountable. In this one, the authors kind of play with the fact that they are adults who are in their own romantic relationship, and they don't have privacy anymore. And especially now in this book, because it's going back to when they were on the live TV show, and they're exploiting, Lily's addiction and his addiction and everybody else's issues. So they really feel like they have no privacy, and it was kind of interesting to get that glimpse into it, because I also was like their friends, where I thought, like, no, they need people to intervene because they can't do it. But now they're like, we have no privacy, we can't do anything without anybody asking us what we're doing. And that was kind of, like, really cool to read about, because I was on the opposite side too, where I was like, no, they need help, they don't know what they're doing. But so that was really cool to see. But their friendship dynamic, like, I mean, like, through all of their friends, all 6 of them, I love it. It makes me want to have a friend group like theirs so bad. They're so toxic. Okay, they're so toxic, and I probably wouldn't get along with people like that. But I also think I would, and I would love it, because they're so, like, their sister dynamic is so precious, and I love it so much. They're, like, really there for each other, and, like, it's just awesome. And all of the friends together, I just love it so much. They're just such a good friend group. I'm literally falling in love with these books. I literally could read about them doing nothing and I'd be satisfied, because I just love these characters so much. But I love it. Okay, 50%. I'm probably gonna rate this one, my prediction is at least 4 stars, 4.5 maybe so far. That's what it is at 50%. So let's see if I continue with it towards the end. I'm done. I binged that shit. I'm done. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it, okay? Like, listen, is it the best book ever written? No. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for good time and good vibes, okay? And that was delivered to me. This series always is delivering the good vibes, good times to me, okay? So that's why I'm rating this one 5 out of 5 stars. Like, that's the only reason I ever really rate books 5 stars, is because I literally can't stop thinking about these characters. And that is, for me, one of the major ways I rate a book 5 stars, is if I think about the characters all the time, then it's probably 5 stars, okay? Because it really, like, takes a lot for me to be consumed with them. And like I said before, the more I read these books, the less I even care about what they're doing or what I'm reading about. I could read about them plunging a toilet and I'd eat that shit up. Just like the toilet. They're just so good. I just love it. 5 out of 5 stars, okay? What do you want me to say, okay? I have bad taste? Yeah, I probably do, okay? So 5 out of 5 stars. Let's move on to the next book. Okay, it is time to start book number 7. Addicted After All. This one is about Lily and Lauren again. I'm so fucking excited, you guys. I literally am loving these books. I love them. Okay, I love Lily and Lo, and now that they're pregnant and Rose and Connor are pregnant, which I fucking love Connor. I want him to be my dad. But like, I don't, because I think he's hot, so maybe not. But anyway, okay, this book, they're pregnant, they're gonna be fighting their addiction still, but with a little baby on the way. And normally, I'm not a fan of the pregnancy trope, but in this one, with this family and their dynamic, I am so freaking excited to find out what happens, okay? I'm so excited to see them birth some little tiny baby children and have a happy family. So stop talking to me and let me read my book. Let's go. Okay. Ow, my back. I've got my Kindle, I've got a snack, and I've got some water. I am ready to binge this book all night. And by binge this book, I mean I will be asleep in approximately 10 minutes, but it is the thought that counts. Let's read this bitch. I literally want to pee my pants with excitement. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Ow, my back. Ow. Ow. I'm like barely into the book, but I just had to talk about this one part because the friend group moved to this gated neighborhood and they all live together in this like mansion. And so obviously, because of all the bad press, they're still getting harassed, obviously, because this is a dramatic book and they're not just gonna like suddenly be fine or whatever. There's always gotta be some type of media drama. Anyway, so they're moved to this new neighborhood and they're getting harassed by these young teenagers that keep coming to their house. And when I say I am loving low, I mean I am loving low. So they're getting harassed by these teenagers. They shot the girls through, like these teenagers shot at Rose and Lily through the windows because they thought they were being funny pranksters, harassing them because they're famous people. So then Reich and Lowe chased these teenagers down the street trying to catch them to know who they are. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to find the quote on my freaking Kindle and I can't do it. So they're chasing these teenage boys down the street and Lauren and Reich catch one of them. And so Lauren's getting all pissed off because this teenager is running his mouth. And when I tell you I'm starting to love Lauren so freaking much, he used to be my least favorite and I love him so freaking much. He's like becoming my number one. But he threatens the kid and he goes, because the kid said something, you know, some smart ass remark. But I love that. I can make you cry so hard you bleed out of your eye sockets. Why am I attracted to that? What is wrong with me? I love violence. I love it so much. That is so hot. Okay, anyway, that was my check-in. I'm only at 3% into the book right now, by the way. The drama in these books, they just... they're good, okay? I fear I'm getting too attached to fictional characters. But what's new? I was planning on giving you an update after I finished book number 7. But I cannot stop crying. So, I will talk about it tomorrow when I'm not a mess, hopefully. Before I go, though, I would just like to add that these are kind of happy tears. Kind of not. And I know that this book series is gonna wreck me for the rest of my life. So, I am so excited for that. Okay, I'm done crying now, so I can talk about it today. Basically, I finished Addicted After All, which is a story about Lily and Lo again. And let me just say, 5 out of 5 stars. That was such an emotional roller coaster. I love these characters so much. I can tell that I'm getting a very, 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 very bad connection to them. And this is probably going to affect my life forever. So in this book, Lily and Lo are pregnant, expecting a little boy. Rose and Connor are also pregnant, expecting a baby that they will not tell you what they're expecting until the very end, so I'm not going to spoil it. But basically, everybody's, you know, growing up, moving on in their life with this one. And let me just say, the character growth in this book was so incredible. Lauren Hale, who wasn't really my favorite at the beginning of the series, literally is one of my favorite characters probably ever. Like, he's incredible. His growth, his personal growth was just so amazing. Like, nothing will ever top that, I don't think. And even for Lily, like, she used to be super whiny and annoying to me, but in this book and even the book before it, she kind of like really stepped up and has changed so much that she's like, it's just weird, you know? You start this series with them being immature college kids that don't care about anyone or anything, and then you get to this book and they're having a kid, and the character growth was incredible, like incredible. And at the end of the book, Lily and Lauren get married. And that was probably the most heart-wrenching thing ever. It was a happy ending. Surprisingly, you know, the pregnancy trope is not really my favorite of all, because I think a lot of the time it can take away from the characters and even the plot of the book, because it's all you're really focused on. You know, you're worried about a baby now, yada yada. But in this one, it was so well done. You got to enjoy the parts of them being new parents while also still getting to see them a lot. Like, it wasn't just solely focused around the babies, but it was still there. But none of the characters, like, I don't know, they didn't change for the worse because of it. They all really needed that to happen. And by the time you get to this book, which is like, what, the 7th book, you're like so connected to these characters that you're rooting for them to be able to achieve these things and do these things. And it is so incredible to see it happen and like come true. It was just so good to read about. I literally don't want to finish these books. Like, last night when I finished it, I was like sad that I finished it because I want to keep reading about them. I can't even, like, I've been trying to read other series while I do this. I just can't focus on anything but these books, which says a lot to how good they are. I'm so obsessed and I don't want to finish it. I've got 3 more books left and I don't want it to end. But without, you know, the series ending, I will never know what happens. So I have to continue reading, even though I just want to live this little bubble of them, of these characters, and I never want to leave this little bubble, and they're all I want to think about. But I have to know what happens. So that means we have to move on to book number 8. So let's do it. Okay, book number 7. It is time to start it. This one, like I said, is about Connor and Rose again. A little backstory. What is overall going to be happening in this one? Connor and Rose have to make this deal with this horrid magazine / like blog that is always talking about their family and like making up these like horrible things. And the reason they're making this deal, basically what the deal is like Connor and Rose have to give them a certain amount of photos of them doing things that would like be interesting for the media. And in exchange, they don't put out, the blog does not put out this false article stating that Lily and Lauren's son is not their son, and it's Reich's, because in the previous books there's been rumors that Reich, Lily, and Lauren are all in this weird throuple, and the kid is not really Lauren's, but it is. So, with that, let's see what happens. I'm guessing some drama, some tears, some bomb smut probably. But yeah, let's get into it. I bet you guys are like, why is this girl always in her bed at this point? Where else am I supposed to read? The moon? I would if I could, but I can't. So you get to see my bed. Okay, we are 50% through Fuel the Fire. What are my thoughts so far? Obviously, I'm still loving it. I have noticed Connor's probably my favorite man in this series, with Lauren as a close second, which is surprising because I didn't really like Lauren. And obviously in this one, it's about Connor and Rose again. I thought at first Rose was my favorite in the beginning of the series. And in this book, she's kind of... I still really like her. I still really like all of them. But she's such a negative personality type. And I mean, like, she's just always, like, scowling and saying things like, "Oh, I hate you," and you know, even though it's joking and lighthearted, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, just be nice, even if your meanness is fake, just be nice. But you know, I still really love her. I still really love all of them. That just gets a little bit old, but maybe that's just one of the things she needs to work through. I don't know. Especially like Connor's always so nice to her, and because she gets like flustered around him still, even though they've been married for 2.5 years, her being flustered when he's being nice or doing something that she finds attractive, she like bites at him and is like mean, and that's just not like the type of person I am. So it kind of just gets a little bit sick, like a little bit old to read, but so far so good. Oh my gosh. And Connor, speaking of Connor, there's this one scene where they all go rock climbing for Reich, because that's something he really likes to do. So all of the friends get together and go to this indoor rock climbing gym thing. And while they're there, Rose does not want to do it. Like, she does not want to, you know, put the harness on, or yada, yada, yada. So Connor breaks the buckles on the harness without anybody looking. And then it's just like, oh, it's broken, Rose. Like, you can't do it anymore. And I think that's just so romantic. Oh my gosh, and another thing. For his birthday, apparently in these books, for his birthday he always runs away every year. And this year, because they're married, well, they've been married multiple years, but this time Rose wanted to do something for his birthday. And so she had to get all of the friends to like force him. My goodness. They had to get him to force him to like stay in the house so she could show him the surprise. Which leads to him being handcuffed to a chair because Reich has to handcuff him to a chair because he's trying to run away. Connor is. And then when him and Rose are kind of having this little flirty moment in the kitchen, doesn't want to be handcuffed anymore, he smashes the chair on the floor, attached to it with handcuffs, and he smashes it on the floor and breaks it. Oh my god. I love that. I'm so easy to please. But so far the biggest like drama of the book is still they're, 50% in, they finally finished taking all the pictures they needed to take for that magazine/blog, so they don't really owe them anymore. Like that's all said and done, except they've decided that they're going to continue taking these scandalous, reckless photos of them so that any attention on their new children are going to be in the media is going to be like completely like they don't want the media to focus on their children. So Connor and Rose are doing all these wild things in public so that they'll get recorded or pictures taken of them so that they don't talk about their kids in the media. But it's slowly being figured out by Reich what they're up to because he knows that they're doing like really weird stuff. And then the other biggest like hindrance, annoyance in this book is Scott Van Wright. That is the producer that did their reality TV show, the one that majorly screwed them over in the previous books. He moved into the mansion right next to theirs, or maybe it's like more like down the street. He moved in there because he's saying that the producers of their reality show wants to do another season, and if they don't do another season, basically he's going to make their lives really difficult. But Connor has a plan. He's going to smooch him up and then cut him off at the knees when he least expects it. And I hope he can manage that. So yeah, Connor is basically, Scott Van Wright, the producer, is public enemy number one for them, and he is hopefully going to outsmart him this time. He's also trying to get... So far, so good. I still really love it. That's all I'm gonna say. You guys should read these books. I literally can tell that I'm headed down a bad place. I think about these 24/7. I literally today, if I wasn't reading the books, I felt so down. And that's not like a difficult place for me to get to. But it definitely sucks when it happens. And if you know what that feeling is like, then you know. I hate being attached to characters. Hate it. I hate being attached to them like this, where it's all I can think about. And if I'm thinking about them, I'm usually sad. But at the same time, I'm not me if I'm not obsessing over fictional characters. So, you win some, you lose some. Not much I can do about that, I guess. It's just how I'm wired. Anyway, 50%. Let's continue. I'll update you when I'm done. It is a couple days later now. I completely forgot that I didn't even talk about how I finished Fuel the Fire. So, let's talk about that and what I rated it. This book, it's about Connor and Rose again. They have their little girl. They're, doing their usual minding their own business thing. And in the beginning of the book, Scott, his name is Scott. He is the producer that produced the Princesses of Philly show, which is their reality show, the sisters' reality show. He comes back in this book, like I'm sure I've mentioned, and he basically wants them to do a second season again, but this time focusing around Rose and Connor's and then Lauren and Lily's children. And basically he says, like, if you don't do it, I'm going to make your life a living hell. So Connor goes out of his way to scheme. My hot man Connor, okay, my super smart hunk of an imaginary boyfriend, he decides that he's going to go after Scott. Let's just call him Evil Producer Man, okay? Connor goes after Evil Producer Man, basically trying to find a way, almost this entire book, to get him out of their lives for good. And so that's kind of what he spends the majority of the book doing. So now not only are they, dealing with Evil Producer Man, they're also dealing with the media because they're purposefully making sure all of the attention is on them and not the rest of their family or their kids. So they get themselves into like some pretty like embarrassing, like it's not like, you know, not awful situations, but they're pretty embarrassing situations that nobody would want to be in. And that's another thing they spend most of the book doing. And, you know, in this book, a couple of their friends catch on to like, you know, why are you guys doing this? Like, you're better than that. Everyone kind of figures out why they had been doing that the whole time. Oh my gosh. And then I also don't, basically, I don't think this is really considered a spoiler, but, you know, like I've said before, you can skip ahead. It's about Connor too. So Connor, this whole series, has kind of been open about how he's not necessarily straight. He's just like attracted to all things and all people, and he doesn't really, he says himself like he's attracted just like people and their personalities, so, you know, men, women, whatever. So basically he gets outed in this book. It's something that he wasn't ashamed of, but it wasn't public knowledge because he just didn't, you know, it just wasn't something he thought was necessary, but he gets outed for it. And all of these men, you know, come out that he had slept with and like say that he slept with them, and then it just causes this big hoopla. You know, they're wondering who outed Connor. We find out who did it. I'm not gonna say who, but yeah. So then he's dealing with that on top of, you know, the media already bashing them for all the weird things they're doing in public, and then, you know, Scott Van Wright, the evil producer man, is also there ruining their lives. But all is well that ends well. They all figure it out in this book, and the way he takes down evil producer man, like when you find out, like, you know, the leverage he gets on him and what it is, it's like, ooh, that's bad, but also like he deserved it. So so in this book we also find out something about Daisy, which also kind of sets up the next book. We find out that, I won't get into that much detail about it. Basically, we find out that there's something going on with her that makes it a little bit harder for her to have children. Like, it's a bigger risk, okay? So I won't, like, you know, I don't want to give every detail, so it's a little bit more exciting when you read it yourself. But basically, you know, something happens. It's gonna make it harder for her to have children, which sets us up for the next book and kind of what that's about. With that being said, now that my brain is all over the place, I've also been sick for the last couple of days, so my brain is just fried. It's just not working. Let's move on to the next book, and that is Long Way Down. Yep, that one is called Long Way Down, and it is about Reich and Daisy. I think that's book number... Is that book number 9? There's no way that's number 9. That makes me so sad. I don't want to finish this series. That makes me so sad. Okay, let's just do it, I guess. Book number 9, let's go. Okay, it is the next day. I am sick. I'm very sick. I literally have, like, dry mouth because I cannot breathe through my nose at all. My nose is raw from blowing it so much, but I'm thriving, okay? This is the best I've ever been. Anyway, it's the next day, which means it's time for the next book. I'm literally choking on snot right now. Anyway, book number 9, Long Way Down. I cannot believe I am on book number 9 already. There's one more book after this, and I don't want this series to end. I don't. I think about these characters all the time. I'm at work, I'm thinking about them. I'm at home, I'm thinking about them. I'm reading the books, I'm thinking about them, which is just like wild. I just don't do that normally, you know? So book number 9, Long Way Down. This is about Daisy and Reich, and where we left off with Daisy and Reich, we found out Reich is just the same, but we found out that Daisy's really struggling with her mental health, and we also found out that due to a situation, I don't really want to spoil it. I want you guys to, like, know what's going on, but also have some type of suspense if you want to read these books. Due to complications with her uterus, let's just say, she found out in the last book that she will have a more difficult time having kids. And let's just know, she has a more difficult time having kids. So in this book, it's about Daisy and Reich venturing on trying to start their own life and their own family. That's what this is about. This is the longest book in the series. It is 638 pages. That is so long. That's long. And especially because Daisy and Reich are probably my least favorite couple out of this series, so the fact that they get the longest book out of the entire series is kind of a bummer because they're not my favorite. But we will suck it up and read it anyway. I hear a cat. Artemis! Oh, it's my Artemis. Come here. Farty, come here. Come say hi. Come here. Come here, Artie McFarty. Artemis. Oh, my Artie McFarty. Okay. let's just do it. No more diddly daddling. Diddle, what is it called? Diddle, what is it? What? I'm literally editing this video right now, which is why you get this great view. But I realized that I just never told you I finished book number 9 and just completely went right into book number 10. So I'm going to talk about it right now. I rated that book 4 out of 5 stars. It was cute. I'm editing this so long after I read that I couldn't really give you a good overall review. Basically, Rike and Daisy get their happy ending. And it was cute. It was a good book. It was 4 out of 5 stars cute. So keep that in mind. That it wasn't my favorite, wasn't the best. Rike and Daisy are still not my favorite. Oh, and the only thing I do remember about this book is that the whole pregnancy thing, this was the only time in this series that the whole pregnancy thing seemed rushed and not right. That gives you so much information about this book, okay? That's all I can remember, though. I look greasy as fuck right now. Anyway, that's the update you get. Deal with it. Okay, so last book, number 10, Some Kind of Perfect. This one is about all of the characters now. So this one has every single one of their point of views, and it happens between 2018 and 2028. So you get a whole 10 years of these characters, and this is the longest book in the series. It's like 730 something pages, which I'm glad for because I don't want this to end. I feel like I've been reading these books forever, but at the same time I can't get enough. So as soon as I'm done with this one, I'm probably just gonna start over and read my favorites from the series. So yeah, and then in this one everyone has kids and everyone's growing up. And in the last chapter, it has the chapter names, which I could show you, but the chapter names on my Kindle, it literally says the last 2 chapters are so long and goodbye. I can't do it, you guys. I'm literally I'm dreading this. I'm dreading being done. I'm gonna finish it and then I'm just gonna start right over. I can't do it. Don't look at me. I don't want to do it. Anyway, let's do it. Let's just do it. Let's start. Okay, before we even begin with the 50% check-in, ignore my appearance, okay? First off, I'm still sick and I can't breathe. So that's why this is on here. But anyway, 50% into the book. My update is that it's cute. This was clearly meant to be just a very fun, lighthearted book. There's really no plot because each chapter is from a different, not a different year. At least it's really skipping ahead. So it's 1 month and then the next chapter is a whole nother month or another year even, and each chapter is from a different character's point of view. So this book, you can tell there's really no plot because it's almost like a collection of short stories almost, just from each character's point of view. So it's really honestly just cute. It's fun. I'm a little bit more than 50% through the way. Yeah, I would say this is exactly what I've been looking for though. Especially for a last book, after they've been through all of the tragic stuff and all of the drama and everything, it's nice to just be able to read the characters living. Honestly, I could not be more satisfied with it 50% through. It's fun. I love reading about these characters, and I'm glad they did this for the last one because it's just cute to read about, okay? Their families are growing, their lives are growing, things are changing, and it's beautiful. Okay, it's perfect. Oh my gosh, this thing itches so bad, and I'm it makes me want to panic having this thing on my nose. Anyway, panic attack aside, I love it. That's the 50% update you get. Man, I look like a wreck right now. I look like a wreck. I look... Listen, I love my bangs. I can't breathe. I love... oh my gosh. Listen, I love my bangs. Right now, I've never looked... I look like I have a fucking bowl cut. is it? Why is it shaped like this? It just looks like I have a really bad bowl cut with like two little tiny pieces of hair. That was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. Okay, anyway, let's continue on with the book. Let's just continue. I did it. Book number 10, the last book in the series. I finished it. And I don't even know what to think because I am so sad already. I literally, as soon as I finished it, wanted to start the whole series over again. Like, that's how, like, addicted I am to the series now. But this one specifically, okay? This book is everything I've ever wanted from a book. It is literally 700 pages of just them living. I kid you not. Just, and every chapter is... I just realized I'm being really loud and everyone's asleep. Let me whisper. It is literally 700 pages of them just living their lives from like 2018 to 2028. And you just get to see them grow up and go to parties and celebrate birthdays and have fun and live life and be happy. And I loved it. It was perfect. You literally cannot get any better than this book. Was this my favorite in the whole series? Probably not. I don't know. It might have been because it was just like I just wanted to like start it over right away and like read it again. I loved it. It was 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. Immaculate. I loved it. I loved having each of the characters' point of views in just one book. It was just a perfect way to end a series, especially that long. And I like literally cannot believe that I'm done. I feel like I've been reading this series for like such a long time, but now that it's done, I'm like, that's it. There's not more. Like, I don't get to continue reading this. But book number 10, loved it. It was perfect. You literally cannot get any better than that for a finale in a series like this. It was so good. So with that, so with all of them done, let's talk about what we thought of every single book. Well, not we, because you might not have read them with me, but just go talk about how much I love these books. More than I have already talked about it. Well, there you have it. 10 absolutely perfect books. The loves of my life. I am obsessed with this series. I truly could not get any better than this series right here. I just want to start this by saying I think about these all the time. They consume my thoughts every single day, and they're perfect. And I love all the characters, and I love everything about them. They definitely have become my new favorite series. At least my new favorite romance series. Well, actually no. It's up there with a lot of the fantasy series I've read. I love them. They're perfect. And they're going to be a part of my life forever now. So let's talk about this series a bit more, shall we? Basically, after reading all these books, there's just some things that I want you guys to know, okay? So basically, the thing about this series is it's a drama, romance drama, right? But I just love how the drama in these books is just so outlandish and so ridiculous. It's like the most normal things will happen in the most dramatic way possible, and I live for it. But I mean, come on, 10 books, and you know, my light just died, so sorry about that. But 10 books, you gotta keep them interesting. So obviously you're gonna have to get creative with the things that happen. And they did that. They delivered just that. Because there's definitely some interesting plot points in these books. When I started this series, I thought these books were going to be so cheesy. I thought they were going to have no depth, no whatever. You know, I read a lot of romance books that are just kind of just that, romance, cheesy romance. So I, going into these, didn't think that there was really going to be much importance or much that you can take away from these characters or these books. And boy, was I wrong. These are so good. You learn so much. You relate to the characters a lot. You even though they're like famous people, you relate to a lot of the situations and a lot of the things they do and feel and think. I literally also I laughed out loud multiple times while reading these books, and that almost never happens. Like I was like so engrossed in these books and these characters that I felt like I was a part of it wholeheartedly, and like I knew these people and I grew with these people, and it was insane. I'm so connected to them, and I literally don't think any characters will really beat a lot of these characters. Now, it's another thing in these books is the character development and the character growth is insane in these books. I literally don't think I've ever read anything better. The two main characters, Lily and Lauren, their character growth is probably one of the best I've ever read, especially Lauren Hale. I think about it all the time. He went from being my least favorite character to literally my favorite character of probably all time. And that's insane. I did not like him, but now he's like probably one of the best I've ever read about. And it's just the thing about these characters is like they're just so real and they're so authentic and they just feel real. They feel like real people that you're reading about and that you're friends with and that you grow with, and it was just insane experience. You literally watch them grow from college kids to full-blown adults with kids and careers and houses and just these whole lives. And it's like when you read about characters like this, is obviously you see them grow, but over 10 books you literally get to see them grow into exactly what you hoped they would be from the beginning. And you get to see so many key points of their lives and so many important things happen, and it's you're truly along for the journey of these characters' lives. And that's another thing. The found family in these books is genuinely one of the best I've ever read about. Genuinely one of the best. I just don't even know how to. They're just so perfect for each other, and it literally makes me want to be a part of their friend group because they're just so also different and they're also complex, and the support system they have with one another is insane. It was just the found family in this book was, like I said, one of the best I've ever read. It's insane. I literally will keep it with me for the rest of my life. And the three sisters just have the most precious dynamic ever. They're just always so close to one another, and they're always there for each other, and they're always it was just spectacular to see them being sisters, as somebody with sisters, you know what it's like. And this was very realistic in the fact that they're just always looking out for one another and always caring about one another and thinking about one another. And I could go on about these books forever. And also, when I first started this book, I have a hard time reading about like these rich celebrity entities because I just don't find them relatable at all. But the authors of these books did so good in showing how, yes, they may be rich celebrities that, have these untouchable lifestyles for most, but they would write them in ways where they would do like little things that if you pick up on, you're like, oh, I do that, or that's like normal. And, obviously, the saying celebrities are just like us is a thing, but when you're looking at celebrities and reading about them online, it doesn't seem like that. But in these books, the whole time you're like, wow, these, they're rich and they live this luxurious lifestyle, but then you read about struggles and things they do, and you're like, okay, they're like normal people. They're not untouchable. They're real. They're just real. And I literally, this is like a 10 out of 10 series for me. Obviously the first books are not my favorite, but once you read all of the other books, the first books get better in your head and you really appreciate them more. So yeah, this is probably one of my new favorite series ever. The weirdest thing about reading this series was it obviously is like a span over 10-15 years. It's 15 years of their life. And so I hate reading series like this because you watch them grow, you watch them go through all these things, you watch them age and change and mature, and you feel like you're a part of it. You feel like you're right there along them every step of the way, but you're not changing. And so you feel like you're being left behind, and I hate that feeling when I read books. That's one of the hardest things about reading books like this, is you are so connected to them, so invested, you feel like you're a part. I have a rubber band in my hair. You feel like you're a part of their lives, but you're not. You're still the same person you were a week ago, 2 weeks ago when you first started it, but they grew 15 years. It's the weirdest feeling ever because you feel like you've aged 15 years, but you haven't. And it's sad and it's depressing when you come back to reality and realize that you will never be a part of these people's lives. And that hurts. If there's anything to take away from this video, is that this is one of the most perfect series I've ever read in my life, and you should read it. You don't even have to be a romance lover, because I would consider myself a fantasy lover, and I love these wholeheartedly, 110%. They're the best thing I've ever done with my life. That being said, read this series, or don't. You're missing out if you don't, but I think you should. I think this deserves way more hype than what I see online, and I think it's perfect, and I wish they would write more, because I'm probably going to be rereading these every week for the rest of my life. with that said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting me and enjoying all the things I put out. I have so much fun talking to you guys online and making videos for you guys, and I appreciate every little thing you comment or say or interact with. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you took away something from this video, maybe even if it was that I'm the most hilarious person you've ever met. Then so be it. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love you all. See ya.